All right, folks, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. Yes, over 30 days with this phone right here, and it has been just as good as I thought it was going to be. Awesome. So the first thing about this phone is the price, man. I mean, you can grab this phone for $550. There's a link down below. You can use that and get 20 bucks towards a case or some earbuds or something when you decide to purchase. The phone right here is just awesome, man. And I want to start with where I should start, which is the screen. Now this screen right here is 6.4 inches, man. 6.4 inches of goodness. It is that good. Now it is certified to play HDR10 content, and when you do that, you are going to be blown away at how beautiful this device shines in that light. Now the screen itself has this little cutout at the top. Now this is a smaller cutout than some other phones that we know of, and there's a bunch of them on the internet that have that cutout. You know, there's a ton of them, folks, that have that cutout. And I would say with this phone, they're calling it a teardrop or water drop or something like that. So don't even let that bother you. This is a beautiful display, and actually I didn't even notice with the other phones after a while. And this one right here, all I see is full screen with kind of bezel. It's super clear, and when you're playing those videos, wow factor, straight up wow factor, straight up just awesomeness. Now another area where I think this phone really shines is the camera. The camera on this thing, you know, while it's not my best set of cameras, I'm enjoying these cameras. It does 4K at 60 FPS, and I think that's important to people nowadays. At one point it wasn't important, but I really wish that this screen was 1440p, and I could really slam it down with lots more content. However, the cameras on here can record in 4K, and record in 4K at 60 FPS, and I think you'd be surprised at how good it actually turns out. The front camera is fantastic, just like I knew it would be. And you know, it's crystal clear. It's not the best, but it's definitely better than other phones out there that cost twice the price, and you know what I'm talking about. Definitely better, man. So, you know, when you think about battery life on a phone like this, you think 3700 milliamps, how good could it be? Well, very good. I know I said that because there's a lot of phones out there that don't have good battery life, and they don't perform well on battery with bigger batteries. I've got phones out there that have 4,000 milliamp hour batteries, and they don't get as much battery as this, and that comes down to this right here, the optimization of the software, and also comes down to the user and what you're doing on your phone. So battery life on this phone is you're easily able to pull down, and I'm going to go really low here, even though I've gotten way more than this. You can get at least 6 hours of screen on time. I'm averaging about 8 or more. So, you know, you should not have an issue with battery on this phone. Because this phone is optimized so well, it's just going to run like a champ for you. You got a big battery, you got the latest processor, you got tons of RAM, you know, and the software is optimized just right, folks. You should not have an issue. Now, the size of this phone is important. Now, I've got a lot of phones. Let me I'll grab a phone with a 6.4 inch display. Let's grab this one, and where's my other ones? They're not close by. Anyway, so here's the Note. This phone has a 6.4 inch display, and so does this phone. Now you can clearly see here the difference in the size. The Note is boxy, and it is squared off, and it's also bigger. And that's because the Note still has a top and a bottom bezel. But with this phone, it's rounded, and it doesn't have those larger bezels. And it's definitely narrower, and it's not as wide, and it feels great in the hand because of those round corners. When you hold the Note 8, you're going to have a little pointy corner in your hand. And it's not that it's uncomfortable, because obviously I love the Note 8. However, this phone is much better in the hand than the Note 8. You got the same size screen, and you got rounded corners. Did I say Note 8? Note 9. You got the rounded corners, and it definitely feels a heck of a lot better than that phone, and it won't even feel like a 6.4 inch display after you start to use it after a while. So if you don't like to use two hands with a phone, you know, you might want to avoid some of these larger screen phones. Now I know that this phone might look small in my hands, but I have big hands. But this is a big phone, folks. Don't get it twisted. You know, this is a very big phone. Let me show you a small phone. Well, this phone still isn't small. This is a 5.7 inch display, but it's kind of a tall phone, but it's a smaller screen, I should say, but it's got those large bezels. So I guess I probably should have grabbed the Pixel, right? This phone will be considered a small phone. Even in a case, it's still dwarfed by the OnePlus 6T. So with that being said, you know, these are some larger phones. You got to make sure that you're aware of what you're getting into when you start to buy these larger phones. So all of that said, you know, I don't talk about the network much, you know, on phone calls, but I have been using this phone over T-Mobile the entire time. Project Fi also, and it's all good. No drop calls. I've actually already traveled with this phone, but I was using my T-Mobile SIM. No issues whatsoever. It did drop out about 2 or 3 times but that was T-Mobile's network. But you know, overall, there's no drop calls. You know, there's no problems with SMS, picture mail, internet speeds, nothing. It is all good, man. So I want to do a quick follow-up video with you guys. I didn't talk so much about specs because you already know about it. But if you don't know about it, Snapdragon 845, 3700 milliamp hour battery, in-screen fingerprint reader, which isn't offered very much on phones today. I do have phones with that. You can see how fast that is. So this is something that OnePlus is bringing to the table, and you know, this is what makes this phone really appealing to a lot of people. You've got a somewhat smaller form factor for a big screen. You've got an in-screen fingerprint reader. You've got a great design. You know, I have a skin on mine. You know, this is the mirror black, but I have a skin on here, and I did that skin just for grip. You know, the mirror black is beautiful, but I just put a skin on it because I wanted to have a grippier feel because I don't like to wear cases all the time. But you know, this dual camera setup right here is fantastic, man. You shouldn't have an issue with this. And I also like the alert slider. I wish more phones had the alert slider, but they don't have it. So again, no headphone jack on here, but you know, all in all, folks, you know, like I said in another video, I guess the only downside for this phone for me, and I said this in another video, and you guys, wait, getting your feelings too quick, man. This isn't a bad speaker. It's just a single bottom firing speaker, and I just wish they would have done dual speaker setup. Even if they would have put 2 out the bottom, I would have been happy with that. But nonetheless, I can't really find anything that I want to complain about this phone. You know, the cameras are great. You know, I don't know. I just don't have very many complaints. You know, so with that being said, man, you know, a lot of people feel like there's other phones that could be king of the smartphone of the year, but there's other people who don't want all of that and they don't want to pay that much. And I think the argument that some people have is, I got mine on a promo. If the phones were the same price, which one would you choose? If these phones were this is a question that I get all the time, but if they were the same price, which one would you choose? That's kind of difficult for me to answer. Reason being is because I have them all and I didn't pay the same price for them. You know what I'm saying? So you got to ask a person who doesn't know about these phones. And I'm just real 100 real quick. It's difficult for me to answer that question because I have the phones and they're not the same price. And that's a hypothetical question that I just can't answer because I like them both. Yes, we know that the Note has all the software features, but after that, what kind of experience are you getting? This is considered to be the king by a ton of people, but some of the OnePlus 6 owners and 6T owners, they're going to argue that this is the king because they don't have to haggle with pricing, looking for bonuses and, you know, bundles and all that. It's just priced lower. Makes sense? So this is your king, and if you're a Samsung person and the OnePlus, this is your king, if you will. But I think that argument goes down to the user. And all of that said, some people might consider this the phone of the year. You know, even though people are now already putting out videos saying the Note 9 is the king of the hill for 2018, you grab your king. You know what I'm saying? The Note 9 definitely has the best screen, and it is arguably one of the most complete phones ever. But that complete is in the eye of the beholder. And there's a ton of people that own the OnePlus 6T that will probably argue that this is their king. So it's your man Jay Will. Follow a video after a little over 30 days. I'm so glad I bought this phone, man. I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to hit that link down below if you want to grab yours. You can get a $20 credit so you can buy some earbuds or a case or something with your phone. Take care.